Into different surreal and really weird RPGs gotta be one of my favorite types of entertainment pieces. It's just a subgenre, if I can call it that is so open and vast, it has infinite possibilities. We can have games that portrays a geometrical monochromatic world filled with hopeless NPCs that you interact while proceeding on the game, listening to a banger soundtrack. Or we can have a really violent game filled with anime grows, or a really violent game filled with stinky middle-aged men that interact while also listening to a banger soundtrack. The soundtrack part is almost like a rule. All these games usually take themselves really seriously and manage to tell a really good story. But there's one game that is different in that aspect. A game that doesn't take itself seriously and that literally describes itself as a grotesque mockery of itself. Let me present you guys Space Funeral. Created by the Catamites or Stephen Gill Murphy, Space Funeral is, as I said, an RPG made in RPG Maker 2003, a software that was also used to create games such as Off, Grimm's Hollow that I still need to play, Yuminiki, and a lot more. A game with a very simple premise, where Philip, this baby, I don't know how to categorize this human, that gets out of his house to save his wife from mysterious corruption. But what is this game like? How does it look? How does it smell, taste? How does it feel? Let's find out. So now, let me present you guys exactly what is Space Funeral. As soon as we open the game, we can already notice that this game won't be exactly common. We have this fucking weird face as a background and 3 buttons to select, respectively blood, blood, and blood. So guess which one I selected? Exactly, blood. And with no cutscenes, no explanation, nothing, we are at this place. Alright, I guess. We control Philip, that, as I said, seems like a kid, but I'm not sure about that. He's just weird. Your mother and I think that you should leave. Okay, let's do that. Whoever the fuck that was, probably our father, asked us, and oh my god. This apparently is the place where we live. It's definitively not very beautiful. Not just it looks fucking disgusting, but the song playing at the background is this. Interacting a little bit with the NPCs around the place, we come to meet this wizard right here, and he explains to us that there was once a perfect city, a divine construct from which derives all things on this world, but it has been corrupted, and we are doomed. He also says that the wizard Grumps lives in the Blood Cave, and he is the only way of saving this world. So we enter this forest high here, and the music changes to this one, that seemed to be actually specifically made for this game, since the previous one wasn't, obviously. And it's really good, but I'll talk more about the music later. On this place we have to fight enemies such as the Blood Wolf and Skull Crab. Let me make a quick note here about how extremely goofy and sometimes even kind of funny this game is. Like this interaction. A mysterious letter. It says, expect the worst. What a bad letter. But at the same time completely grotesque and brutal. As the wizard said, it's really a corrupted word. It doesn't make sense and looks like shit. Intentionally, of course. And it works very well. We then proceed to find Leg Horse. A horse made of severed legs. You worms, you slime, you barbaric ways are no match for the Leg Horse. He then calls us a cringing puss that I have no idea what means, and asks us, actually commands us to join him, and we do exactly that. We both defeat the 2 Blood Wolves, and we go ahead to defeat more enemies, interact with some NPCs, and eventually buy a ticket to a boat ride, or a floating piece of wood ride on an ocean of blood, and just enter the famous or infamous Blood Cave. And it's just something else.
Aching for the light.
Yes, this is what you will listen while you are here. This place is dark as fuck, red as fuck, and blood as fuck. Leghorn said that he'll talk to the wizard first, and he does. And then we are able to talk with him. He explains the path we have to do to finally understand what is corrupting a world and save it. Even though I did play this game entirely, this is the part I'll stop documenting about the gameplay itself. But don't worry, cause now I will analyze everything we just saw. Let's go for the analysis part. Alright, let's be weird. These games look kinda ass. The colors are saturated as fuck. The designs are extremely exaggerated and insane. But you know what? It looks awesome. It is so abstract and crazy, I simply adore it. It's like the creator managed to transcribe an LXD experience into these visual representations, and it's worked really well. Not like I ever used LSD though. Phillips is described by the Space Funeral Wiki as a crying human with a boulder-shaped head who wears yellow pajamas. But in my interpretation, he's a gigantic mutant baby. And Leghorse is, well, Leghorse. The ambience and tile sets are full of these weird heads and skull in random places. And the color choices are really questionable, but in a good way. Everything being kinda hand-drawn but also pixelated is mainly what makes this style so interesting and different. This game's visual identity is just something else. Now, talking about the interaction and dialogues, I think it's pretty obvious what the game is going for. Everything is just goofy and it doesn't care about it. Leghorse constantly talks in third person and acts arrogant, but in an extremely comic way. I'll mention one of my favorite parts, the Dracula's house, that I have no words to describe, just look at this. Now, about the music. This game music is really interesting, because it ain't just composed of songs made for the game. There are a lot, and I mean a lot, of simply low quality blues jazz old songs that somehow manages to fit the place they are perfectly. Like that first song we ever heard and the one that plays while battle finishes. But of course, there are lots of other songs composed for the games, and those are also very good and well made. The melodies are complex and have a lot of variety, the instrumentation is really cool, sometimes even distorted, which contributes to making that weird ambientation even more strong. I also really like how the drums are built. They are very rocky, mainly on the battle theme. One of the few things I don't like about this game though is that sometimes the songs are kinda repetitive and plays more time than they should on the game, but it's a small thing. I won't talk a lot more about the story of the game since it's clearly not the main thing here. The thing is, this game wants to be weird and to do something different on its own way, and is very successful, providing a very fun and bizarre experience. Now tell me, what is your favorite RPG Maker game like this? Leave it in the comments. What other games or projects would you like me to talk about on this channel? Even though most of these people will just ignore this, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. It won't take you any time. I'm a beginner channel and you doing that will help me a lot. Also, consider checking out the other videos made, like this one from the indie RPG Maker game Ecorella. If you enjoyed this one, you probably like that one too. And if you like my channel, maybe even subscribe, would be very cool of you. So now, goodbye.